back. I want to move to a royal story that's dominated quite a lot of the press today. The King and Prince Harry won't be meeting up, despite the fact the Duke of Sussex has been in the UK. An Invictus Games event, something he's responsible for. His wife hasn't come. She's gone to Nigeria. We'll talk about that in a minute. But he's arrived, and his dad hasn't seen him. On the same day that his dad said, "I haven't got time to see you," his dad also made the point that he wants his brother William to head one of the garrisons, one of the army units that Harry used to and had stripped and taken away from him. A lot of people are saying, has the King finally discovered a backbone? And other people are saying, actually, is he being unfair? We'd love to take you part. And we're like, Robert's back, ladies and gentlemen. Very exciting. Robert Jobson, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Drive. How are you?
Hi, Jeremy.
What happened there, me old son? Technology getting the better of you again?
Again?
Again? I'm only joking. I can't even see Robert's face. Where is he? Put him on the camera. There he is. There's me old mucker. Are you all right?
He is there. All good, all good. Very, very good. I've just been on the Queen Mary lecturing, so I think you should do that. We should do it together.
I think we should. Good. Well, listen, what a day it's been. I'm going to ask you about anything and share a couple of bottles with you as well. Royal diary clash. Can't say I didn't smile that the King hasn't got time to see Harry. Not sure. Some people feel sorry for him. Is this the King with a bit of backbone, Robert, finally, or is it literally true that it is a diary clash?
I think the King's always had backbone, Jeremy. I think the fact is it's difficult when to say no to your children sometimes, but I think Harry might have pushed on a little too much, really, in what he's been doing. I think the King has got a diary clash. He's only just back to public-facing duties. He was busy yesterday, not only with medical things, but also seeing the Prime Minister of Fiji. He's got a big event today, the Garden Party, the first big public-facing event he's had. Now, just because Harry's in town with his circus and his entourage doesn't mean that his father's going to drop everything. And look, I don't think they're on the closest possible terms at the moment. You know, I think talk of a snub and all this is ridiculous because Harry's people will put out the fact that, oh, you know, we tried, but he didn't want to see us. My understanding is that there wasn't even an official approach, so therefore there's no clash.
It's interesting as well, isn't it? Many people will say, which I get actually, and I understand, that the problem is because he and his wife have given out so much that many people within the royal family and those near to them are not wanting to put themselves in that position again because they fear that anything that's said will be sent to the press or leaked out. And certainly with the way that King Charles is going through and the treatment on that, I suspect that's quite central to the decision.
I think, Jeremy, that Harry was a big favourite with the late Queen. He used to be able to just drop in, you know, just drop in on the Queen, and she would love to see him. He was fun, you know, and he would always be a bit of a favourite. But that was pre-Meghan, it was pre-Spare, it was pre-opera. So, look, I don't think as the King now you can just suddenly rock up and say, I'm coming, I'm here, look at me. I think Harry's got to do a bit of growing up here. I think I'd probably be soft and wouldn't have a backbone if it was my son.
I'm just thinking about that. I'm trying to look at it.
I think even whatever he's done, I would have said, like, of course,
yeah,
see him.
Yeah.
But I think you've got two hats. One of them's a crown. It's a different situation. You know, you've got to be. You don't really want to turn every occasion this guy comes into a town into a circus, which it pretty much becomes.
Yeah.
And I think the King has got a backbone, but he obviously still loves his son.
Of course.
But you know, the reality is, at some stage, at the King's 76 in November, at some stage, you've got to realise that, you know, polo videos and documentaries and jam are not going to pay you the bills.
Jam.
And I suspect there's a bit of worry in the corridors of the palace that who's going to pay the bills at some stage. Harry and Meghan, you know, good luck to them, made their bed, they're laying it. He hasn't really seen his grandchildren as a result.
No,
but,
and that's important.
You know,
when you say, though, it was interesting today about this snub, and when you know, people will do that in the press, they'll go, is it snub? And you're talking about a diary clash. The other thing is, hot on the heels of saying they can't meet, he announces that Prince William will be made Colonel-in-Chief of the Army Air Corps, which, of course, Harry served with him in Afghanistan and was high in that before he was stripped. you would look at that without being cynical and go, right, so I can't see my son, and I'm actually giving something I stripped to your brother on the day you've landed in the UK. So all the bleeding hearts, and we have to acknowledge that there are people out there will say, it's so unfair. William and Kate have never been treated in the same way as Harry and Meghan are just trying to get on with their lives. I'd love your response, Joe. Listen, I know what I think, but what do you make of it?
Jeremy, Harry and Meghan will be treated differently to William and Kate, because William and Kate are one day going to be the king and queen.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two, you know, Charles was very close to Harry before all this happened, very close, closer than he was to William. But William hasn't let his father down at the most important moment, probably in his life, the transition of the crown. The first 12 months of the transition of the crown, in fact, the last 12 months of Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II's reign was dominated by the Harry and Meghan debacle. Okay, that's what it was. It was
too much noise.
You know, and I think that's the problem here. The king is the king. You know, it's now in his time. The crown is a year since the coronation. He's making his mark. He hasn't got time for this. And I think really it's probably about time Harry grew up and realised that, you know, he can't just stamp his feet and say,
Robert, I think it's a really interesting point, actually, when you say grow up, because, you know, you make your bed, you marry your lady, you disappear to America because you don't want press intrusion. God, I've said this to you a million times. You then sell your soul to Spotify, where you talk about all the secrets of your family, the very family that you're criticising, and then you complain about being ostracised. There has to be a point of trust. There has to be a point where people go, hold on a minute. It's just, as you said, the great word, the circus. And with the King's illness, Princess of Wales' illness, maybe the reality... I mean, I often say I wonder whether he and Meghan will ever wake up and smell the coffee, right? I mean, she's not come with him. I mean, I think this is really interesting. They're going to Nigeria. I mean, why are they going to Nigeria? It's not a royal visit, is it? Why are they going there? Is it because of the Invictus Games again?
It's going to be effectively to do with their charitable work, and it's going to be a quasi-royal visit. You know, I know it's not quite the same scale as Edward VIII, the Duke of Windsor, going to Nazi Germany before the war, but the fact is, it's like being dressed up as a royal visit. Look, stop. My feeling is I have no problems whatsoever Harry gets set starting a new life. I understand it.
And me.
I can get the pressing contusion and all that. He's found the girl that he loves. He's got his kids. That's great. But at the end of the day, I think he is beginning to wake up and smell the roses, and those roses... Let's be honest, if anything happens to his father, I cannot believe that William is going to be very keen to dole out any money to his brother.
Listen, I said it, and I got quite a few complaints. I said this 3 years ago. He will be back in the United Kingdom with his ginger tail between his legs, and I'm telling you this. I know everybody said to me, "You're being really unfair about this woman. She has her agenda. Maybe they're in love. I don't know." But when I look at him, I see a bloke who's beginning to miss not just the family, but his country, his heritage, and his mates. And if you strip back today's news, you did it. You're right. Pretty sad, isn't it? That his dad and he can't even have 10 minutes together. His dad. I know he's the king, but his dad. And that is because of the way he's behaved. That is definitely the way he's behaved.
But the thing is, he's done it in public and embarrassed the crown. If any of your children had annoyed you, they said, "Dad, I want to chat," you would speak to them. I would speak to my son, even if he's annoyed me. Of course I would. Yeah. But I didn't do that. Even if he had a row, he had done it in public.
And I'd love your take on this, because I completely agree with you, Rob. I also said this as well. And I started this by saying, as the king got backbone. I tell you what I know the red line with him is, and Harry crossed it, strangely enough, it's Camilla. And I think when he waded into Camilla, who has been there and who was this amazing transformation from a woman who was loathed to this astonishing support for our king, and a woman who I think has garnered real respect through hard work and decency, and I mean that hand on heart, I think that was the moment where he stood up to his son genuinely, when his son started insulting and criticising his wife. Would you agree?
Absolutely. The fact is, Queen Camilla has done a sterling job, not only supporting His Majesty through the cancer crisis, but before that. You know, they've been married a long time now, longer than he was married to Diana. You know, they've got their problems as children in terms of the way that their mother was treated, both of them, William and Harry, no doubt about that. But Camilla as a wife, you can't fault her. That's my view.
Completely agree. Robert Jobson, it's always lovely to have you on. And we're going on a cruise. Where are we going? What did you do on the Queen Mary?
Well, actually, I went from Cape Town with Cunard all the way up to Southampton, just lecturing on the royal family. And they've just offered me one from LA down via Honolulu down to Australia.
Well,
so I think that's the one we should go on.
Well, I think that we'll have a word off there. We'll share a bottle of red and talk about it.
You can see it and interview me. It'd be wonderful.
Listen, from Australia to Singapore on Cuna, but the bottle of red with you every night, son. I'm on. Thank you very much indeed, Robert Jobson. Listen, what a top man, Robert Jobson. And you know, you have these people who say, "Oh, he's a royal correspondent." This man knows exactly what he's talking about. Thank you for all your messages today, by the way.